It's the winter of 1929. The American stock market has just collapsed. Banks are failing across the country. And in a small workshop in Columbus, Indiana, a man who never finished school, a farm boy with grease under his fingernails and no money in his pocket, is doing something that everybody around him thinks is completely crazy. He is taking a diesel engine designed for boats, cramming it into a 1925 Packard limousine, and then planning to drive it 800 miles through the freezing cold to New York City. Not to sell the car, not to race it, but to prove one thing to the world: that his engine could drive 800 miles on just $1.38 worth of fuel. He made it to New York. The banker who was about to shut his company down changed his mind, and the engine that Plessy Cummins put in that old car that winter, that single act of desperation by a broke farm boy from Indiana, eventually found its way under the hood of millions of Dodge trucks and quietly saved ranches, farms, and working men across America for the next 100 years. This is the real story of the Cummins diesel engine. And it starts not in a factory, not in an engineering lab, but on a farm. If you love the real, untold history of American engines and the men who built them, subscribe to Auto Documentaries right now and hit that bell icon, because every story we tell is completely true. Plessy Lyle Cummins was born on December 27, 1888 in Columbus, Indiana. He grew up poor. His family worked the land, and largely self-taught after an 8th grade education, Cummins built his first steam engine at age 11. Think about that for a moment. 11 years old. No engineering school, no textbooks beyond basic reading. He figured out how to build a working steam engine by himself, using molten iron that he poured into wooden molds in his family's barn. His father used that steam engine to power work on the family farm. The machine worked. And from that day forward, there was never any question about what Plessy Cummins was meant to do with his life. He left the farm as a young man and got a job as a mechanic and chauffeur for a wealthy Indiana banker named William Irwin. He spent his days driving the Irwin family around Columbus, and his evenings reading every engineering book he could find. He set up a small machine shop in half of Irwin's garage and tinkered constantly. In 1911, Ray Haroon, a race car driver who learned of Cummins' reputation, asked him to join his pit crew for a local auto race. Young Plessy made some suggestions to help improve speed, and that car won the first ever Indianapolis 500, the greatest motor race in America, first ever running, and a self-taught farm boy from Indiana was in the winning pit crew. But Plessy Cummins was not thinking about race cars. He was thinking about something far more important. He was thinking about diesel engines. Rudolf Diesel, a German engineer, had patented the diesel combustion principle in 1892. The diesel engine used compression to ignite fuel instead of a spark plug. No ignition system to fail, no carburetor to ice up. Far more torque at low speeds, and dramatically better fuel economy than any gasoline engine. By the 1910s, diesel engines existed in ships and large industrial machinery, but nobody had made one that worked reliably in a vehicle a regular person could use. Plessy Cummins decided he was going to be the first. In 1919, Plessy Cummins founded the Cummins Engine Company in Columbus, Indiana, with the assistance of banker William G. Irwin. Irwin put up the money. Plessy put up everything else: his knowledge, his time, his obsession. The early years were brutal. The first product Cummins tried to sell was a small diesel engine through the Sears Roebuck catalog. It seemed like a smart idea. Sears had customers everywhere. Farmers needed engines for their equipment. Farmers, trying to make a buck and save a buck, used the Cummins engine for a season and then returned them for a full refund. Sears had a return policy. Farmers figured out that they could use the engine all through harvest season and then send it back. Cummins was shipping engines and getting almost all of them back. He was losing money with every order. By 1922, both Sears and Cummins Engine Company knew their joint venture was a mistake and began contract cancellation proceedings. The company was broke. William Irwin had already put in hundreds of thousands of dollars and was seeing nothing in return. He threatened to shut everything down. Then came 1929. The stock market crashed. Banks failed across America. Irwin's patience ran out completely. Plessy Cummins was staring at the end of his company, the end of his life's work, and the end of everything he had spent a decade building. He had no money, no customers, and a banker breathing down his neck. And he did what any desperate, brilliant, slightly crazy engineer would do. He took a marine diesel engine, an engine designed to power a boat, and he installed it in a 1925 Packard limousine. The engine weighed 1,200 pounds. The car barely ran, but it ran. In early January 1930, Cummins and an assistant began the journey from Indianapolis, Indiana, covering over 800 miles to New York City over the course of 2 days to coincide with the 1930 New York Auto Show. 800 miles? January. No interstate highways, those didn't exist yet. Rutted roads, ice, and freezing cold. Cummins drove over 800 miles to the New York Auto Show on only $1.38 worth of gas. $1.38 for 800 miles. The newspapers went crazy. The story was picked up across the country, and William Irwin, seeing the headlines, changed his mind about shutting the company down. Plessy Cummins had saved his company with one drive through the winter cold, and he wasn't done. With the company surviving, Plessy Cummins went on the offensive. He understood something that most businessmen of his era did not. People didn't trust diesel engines because they had never seen one prove itself under extreme conditions. The way to make people trust his engine was not to advertise it. It was to do something so dramatic, so public, and so impossible to ignore that nobody could deny the results. In 1931, Cummins entered the Indianapolis 500 with a self-built 4-cylinder, 3-valve, 85-horsepower Model U marine diesel that he installed into a Model A Duesenberg. The Cummins Ducey averaged 86 miles per hour and completed the race on one tank of fuel, without any pit stops. The entire field of gasoline-powered race cars pitted multiple times for fuel. The Cummins diesel completed the entire Indianapolis 500 without stopping once. It finished 12th, not first. But the story was not about winning. The story was about the fuel tank. Every car in that race except the Cummins stopped for fuel. The Cummins did not need to. The message was received. The message was received. Then Plessy went to Daytona Beach and set the first diesel land speed records. First 80 miles per hour, then 100 miles per hour. Then he drove a diesel-powered truck from New York to Los Angeles, covering 3,000 miles in 97 hours. And then came World War II. And the Cummins Engine Company went from surviving to essential. Following the United States' entry into World War II, Cummins Engine Company shifted nearly all of its production to support the war effort, manufacturing diesel engines exclusively for military use. The company supplied thousands of rugged engines for U.S. Army heavy-duty trucks, as well as engines for naval minesweepers and land-based power units. These engines were engineered to withstand extreme environmental conditions, operating reliably from tropical climates to subarctic temperatures. The American military bought every engine Cummins could build. The company's workforce expanded from a small shop to thousands of employees almost overnight. And when the war ended and the soldiers came home, they came home knowing that diesel engines were reliable, tough, and powerful, because they had seen it with their own eyes. The post-war truck boom made Cummins the dominant diesel engine supplier in America. By 1955, Cummins had expanded its reach, powering approximately 60% of U.S. diesel trucks. 60% of all diesel trucks in America running on Cummins engines. The farm boy from Indiana had won. By the late 1980s, Dodge was in serious trouble. The Ram truck had not changed significantly since 1972. The loss of big block gasoline V8 options, the discontinuation of crew cab configurations, an exterior that had gone virtually unchanged since 1972, and an aging overall platform painted a picture of a product on life support. Ford had the 7.3-liter diesel from International Navistar. Chevrolet had their diesel option. Dodge had nothing competitive. The heavy-duty truck buyer, the farmer, the rancher, the contractor was walking past Dodge dealerships and into Ford and Chevrolet showrooms. Dodge desperately needed a diesel, and they needed one that would make people forget how far behind they had fallen. In 1989, Dodge made a deal with Cummins. They took an engine designed for farm equipment, marine, and commercial machinery, and crammed it under the hoods of the Ram light-duty trucks. The engine was the Cummins 5.9-liter inline-six turbo diesel. This was not a new engine designed for the truck. This was a medium-duty commercial and agricultural engine, the same basic engine family that had been powering combines, tractors, excavators, and marine vessels for years. Cummins had already built it to survive conditions far harder than any pickup truck would ever face. This engine family grew out of a joint venture between Cummins Engine Corporation and Case Corporation, a company called Consolidated Diesel Corporation. Conceived in 1983 and 1984, specifically for agricultural equipment, an engine designed for a combine harvester in a Dodge pickup truck. It packed a modest 160 horsepower at 2,500 revolutions per minute, but produced a class-leading 400 pound-feet of torque at 1,700 revolutions per minute. 160 horsepower sounds modest, but 400 pound-feet of torque at just 1,700 revolutions per minute. That is the number that matters for anyone who has ever tried to pull a loaded horse trailer up a mountain road, or drag a stuck combine out of a muddy field, or haul a loaded livestock trailer through a Wyoming winter. That torque, available low, available immediately, available all day long without complaint, was something no gasoline engine could match. And no other diesel in a pickup truck could match it either. The public ate them up, and a supply-limited 16,750 Cummins-powered Rams were sold for the 1989 model year. Eventually, Chrysler had to stop taking orders for Cummins-equipped trucks until it could resupply and ramp up production efforts. Dodge could not build them fast enough. Here is what made the 5.9 Cummins different from every other diesel engine in a pickup truck, and why working ranchers and farmers across America, men who depended on their trucks the way a surgeon depends on a scalpel, chose it over everything else. The secret to the 5.9-liter Cummins engine's legendary tuning legacy is simple. It was overbuilt for a pickup truck. Originally designed as a medium-duty commercial and agricultural power plant, the 5.9-liter 6BT arrived with a massive cast-iron engine block and cylinder head, along with 7 main bearings. 7 main bearings supporting the crankshaft. A truck engine of that era typically had 5. More bearings mean less stress on each one. Less stress means longer life. Much longer life. The cast-iron block and head, gear-driven ancillaries, and forged internal components were all chosen for commercial endurance. When Dodge came calling in the late 1980s, Cummins had an engine already proven across some of the harshest working environments on Earth. An engine built to survive a combine harvester's workday doesn't just meet a pickup truck's demands, it exceeds them. The 12-valve version of the 5.9 Cummins, the engine that went into Dodge Rams from 1989 to 1998, had one more property that made it almost uniquely valuable to ranchers and working people. It was almost entirely mechanical. No complex electronics. No sensors that could fail miles from anywhere. The fuel injection system was driven by a mechanical pump. The timing was mechanical. A good diesel mechanic with basic tools could work on it in a field. This mechanical simplicity created a culture where you could tune a truck in your driveway without spending a lot on parts. For a rancher in Wyoming or Montana, 40 miles from the nearest dealership, working in temperatures of minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit, this was not a nice-to-have feature. It was the difference between a truck that kept the ranch running and one that left you stranded with a dead herd in a blizzard. The Cummins block set a new baseline for diesel longevity, with many engines effortlessly crossing 200,000 miles. 200,000 miles was not the ceiling, it was the floor. Stories of 12-valve Cummins engines running 400,000 miles, 500,000 miles, even longer, with basic maintenance, are common in working truck communities across America. One documented example reached 2.6 million miles. 2.6 million miles. On one engine. The Cummins-Dodge partnership forced Ford and GM to rethink their diesel strategies entirely, directly influencing the development of the 7.3-liter Power Stroke and the 6.6-liter Duramax. The whole heavy-duty diesel truck segment moved because one engine raised the standard. Hot cars. Before the Cummins-Dodge Ram, diesel pickup trucks were niche products. After it, every major truck manufacturer in America had to build a serious diesel or lose the heavy-duty market entirely. Ford went to International Navistar and built the 7.3 Power Stroke. General Motors partnered with Isuzu and built the Duramax. An entire diesel performance truck industry, worth hundreds of billions of dollars today, exists because one farm boy from Indiana refused to give up. Drove 800 miles through a winter storm on $1.38 worth of fuel, and proved that his engine worked. In 2019, Cummins-powered Dodges were the first pickup trucks to break the 1,000 pound-feet of torque record, from 400 pound-feet in 1989 to 1,000 pound-feet in 2019. The same basic engine family, built on the same principles Plessy Cummins established in that Indiana workshop a century ago. The farm boy who built a steam engine at age 11, the mechanic who drove 800 miles to save his company, the engine that saved Dodge, the truck that saved 1 million ranches. Plessy Cummins died in 1968. He never saw his engine go into a Dodge pickup truck. He never saw it pull a livestock trailer up a Wyoming mountain road. He never saw a rancher choose his engine over every other option on the market because it was the only one he could trust his livelihood to. But every time a Dodge Ram diesel starts on a cold morning and that inline six begins its low, deliberate rumble, that sound is Clessy Cummins, the farm boy who outsmarted everyone and never stopped.